Oh, we're live. Okay.
We're live. Here we go. So this is going live, but it's also recording.
Yes.
Both.
That way we don't have to upload it after.
Cool. Great. Excellent. Okay. So tell me about what you think has been happening in your lessons with Rebecca. The main things things you're concentrating on, pieces you're playing.
So we have
From your
pieces
perspective.
From here, which is
Okay.
so for this piece, she told me just for this week to go like slow practice through this, so I'm just doing this really slow.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good.
I've also been working from this book.
Great. Was that that was kind of at my suggestion last time, right?
Mhm.
And so you've been working just at the good.
This one is.
Great. First half. Slur slowly. Roll. Okay. We'll hold that pinky. Intonation. Good. Okay. And smooth bow changes. And you're doing that 4 per bow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Yeah. And so we were talking about that kind of stuff. Okay. Great. I remember your bow hold being something I was interested in. Why don't you play with for me the thing that you think represents you best right now?
Okay. I guess I'll just play Nina.
Okay.
Oh, another thing. I'm also working on vibrato, so
Uh-huh.
just like you have this, and then this, and then
Okay.
next week she said we do something like you press it up against the wall.
Okay. Good. So when you do the tapping, do you do it in different rhythms?
Mm-hmm. Well, we usually go like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all the way up to 6.
Okay. And then when you tap on the viola, do you tap the same way?
No, just rhythms.
So show me the rhythms. So that kind of stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Good. Have you ever played vibrato before?
No.
Okay. Good. Ultimately, when we work with vibrato, I'm going to get over here, so I'm going to look at the picture. Ultimately, what the vibrato is going to be doing, it's going to be taking your finger and rolling it back and forth. It's going to change the pitch, going from the note back down, below the note, back to the note. And when you do that, there are a couple of ways that you can initiate it.
Mm-hmm.
It ends at the finger, but where it begins is kind of up to you and Rebecca. One way would be kind of to go with your arm, where the hinge is going to be your elbow. I don't do that one, but sometimes that's the easiest way to get started. Another way is to use your wrist as the hinge. Has she talked with you about either of those things?
I don't think so yet.
Okay. Ultimately, when you get started on vibrato, the vibrato is going to go in the direction of your finger.
Mm-hmm.
You see how that makes sense? The finger is, it's easy to go in the direction of your finger because all the joints work that way. The joints are not designed to flop sideways, right? So if we go in the direction of the joints, we're going to have our best method of doing that, which means that your hand is going to be going, this part of your hand is going to get closer and far away from the viola, closer and far away. So this, where I'm touching you here, and this, the pinky, big knuckle, and then your next finger, big knuckle. We're going to move about the same distance. So when you do this, one thing you might talk with Rebecca about is when you do this tapping, what I see is you're turning the wrist, and that seems to me to be not the direction where we want to go, because when we do this, we want to go just up and down with your wrist, okay? So let's take your left hand and pretend you're bouncing a soccer ball or something with your left hand, right? Would you use your whole arm, or might you use a little bit of your wrist, right? Might use a little bit of your wrist. Or are you doing a yo-yo or something like that, right? Can you imagine that? Okay. I don't know if people even know what a yo-yo is anymore. Do you? Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's great. Now pretend you're turning in some screws with that wrist. So that's not as efficient a motion, right? This up and down thing is a much more efficient motion. So when we translate that to viola, it's this. If we do this, we end up knocking and opening our hand. You see what I'm doing here? So that's my only, that's my observation based on what I see you doing with this. It's a good idea for her to talk about going up and down. Those are very, very good ideas. I want to make sure that you're doing this the direction she wants you to be doing it, okay? That's cool. Vibrato's a really cool and advanced thing. Usually what happens with vibrato is we get comfortable in third position before we do it. So you're doing third position.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're comfortable, let's see. Okay? Go ahead and play the, Good. Let's talk about this note, the fourth finger there. What's that called?
Harmonic.
A harmonic. Can you play that note for me again? Right. And so how do we know something's a harmonic? I mean, when we play it, what characterizes that?
You don't press forward.
You don't press, right. And so last time, when you played it the first time, I think you were pressing a little bit too much and you didn't quite get it. Okay, so that looks like it was a stopping point. Is this a new stopping point? Okay, but that's the end of it for right now, right? Have you ever played anything in treble clef before?
We have this one piece called October Sky,
Okay,
but it's in treble clef,
yeah.
just to like get to know treble clef better. It's not been doing very good though, but
Is that something for orchestra or for something for Rebecca?
Rebecca,
Okay.
it's something.
Do you play piano or anything? Okay, so even if you play piano, treble clef is really hard. I use treble clef on piano. It's like you get used to seeing where these notes are, and you know, like that's the first finger, and so you're not familiar with any other concept of that note. It's just like first finger, and then when suddenly that's playing a different note, it's very, very confusing. So, I see she put some numbers, or you put some numbers in, right? It's a good idea. And the numbers are pretty prevalent until we get to here, to the new stuff. That means either you didn't need them or you didn't put them in. Let's see, which one? Okay, good. So, what do you think some of the things you do best with this piece, and what are some things that you find challenging? These are all, by the way, that's a really, really great question for yourself every day, right?
Well, obviously not the harmonic. Let's see. The slurs could probably be better. Oh yeah, and then right here, I can never get.
Okay, there's a lot of stuff happening right there. Can we look at that? So let's start together here. 1, 2, 3. Good. So when we play, teaching a couple principles here, the idea of getting things right, correct repetitions is really important. Like if you play something wrong 5 times, you play it right once, your body knows it wrong 4 times, right? So has Rebecca, have you ever heard the term practice boxes?
I think I've heard it.
And you worked with Mr. Mantell for a little bit? When he wanted to simplify something, how did he decide how to simplify it for you.
Um,
And not making it less hard than it was on the page, but just breaking it down into one thing at a time.
oh yeah, kind of just like this. Like if you look at these pieces, he did these. He would just.
Just like separate out
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
right?
like this one, like this one. He did
Right. Right, so those are, yeah, that's what sometimes people call those practice boxes or practice modules or something. So sometimes, how many hard things do we have in this measure? We've got, one is the fast notes, right?
Mhm.
Another thing is this little shift. And then we've got a skip. This might be a hard hand shape to do. So there might be 3 things in that one measure. So we might just separate that into the smallest thing. So, and do you see that the B to C is a shift? So that's a problem. So let's not, for the sake of what we're doing first, let's not even do that shift. So I'm going to suggest that you play just that. Okay, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2. Good. So let's not do the shift. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm not doing the shift. I'm not playing the 1. Good. Are the fingers the same distance from the second finger, or is one of them closer?
One's closer than.
The 3 is further away. Okay. Try that again. Whole step to 3. Good. Okay. Let's do that. Let's play what I call a plus-minus game. You have to get +5 with that. So if you get it wrong, it's -1. If you get it right, it's +1. So I'm at 1. Oops, 0. Okay. So I'll be the judge. Good. That's +1. Good. It's +2. +3. That one was kind of messy, right? +2. +3. +4. That one wasn't quite as clean. Do you hear it? The middle finger wasn't quite clean. 3. 4. Whoop. 3. 2. Oh, you're missing the middle finger on the way down, right? You're back to 1. So you have to pick up the 3, but keep the 2 down. 2. 3. 2. 3. 2. 3. 2. 3. Hang on. So you can do, save yourself some time. Practice it both directions. We're at 3. Okay, let's try it. 3. 4, I mean. Ooh, not quite enough for 5. 3. 2. I'm missing that middle finger. 1. 2. 1. 2. 1. 2. 3. 4. Let's give that one to you. 5. Okay, good. So one thing you can do if you find yourself getting stuck or going to negative numbers, you might stop for just a second and just concentrate. Okay, and or you might go slower. If you're missing that second finger, so you have to tell yourself what the problem is, right? Did you hear me say you have to keep the 2 down when you're picking up the 3? That's helpful, right? Okay, so breaking it down into a really small component. Now the next component of that is the shift, right? And here for sure I practice shifts both directions because it takes just as much time to set it up and to play it again, right? So I hit 1, 1. Stop for a second. What I really like about this, Manny, is that you're moving your hand and your elbow. That's really important. It's a shift, and some people who aren't as careful as you would just move the finger, and that would be a waste. of time. Okay, right? Good. Good job. Good. When you shift, have people talk with you about releasing the finger a little bit? Let's try releasing it a lot and just going to the open string in between. I have a prediction that you're going to be sharp when you do that. Because it's a little teeny tiny motion. So you were a tiny bit sharp, right? Okay, good. So now we've got a new possible practice thing. Right? Can you try that practice thing? Get it to +5. Whoa! Oh, that's a -1. Good. We'll give you that one. That's 0. Whoops, we missed the 2 coming down. Right, that's good thinking. You separated out the 2 things in your minds. Do you see what you did? Yeah, so T, good, that's 0, I think we're back to. Good, can I show you one more thing? See how your fingers are all tight together? Can you make sure that the third finger is separated a little bit? The viola third finger? Yeah, good, before you start. Yeah, it's actually a little easier that way, isn't it? Good, try again. Up, oh, no. Good, again, down, bow, and up, bow. Good. Up, bow. Okay, good. So the purpose of practicing, what's the purpose of practicing?
To get better.
Yes!
Yes.
Okay, you know when I found that out?
Uh,
About a year ago, 2 years ago. I was like 58 years old, 59 years old. The purpose of practicing is to get better. Nobody ever told me that. None of my teachers ever told me that. They just assume that, I guess that's what it's for. But if you actually don't get better, if you can't measure that you're getting better, or do the right work that you're getting better, then you're probably not going to get better as fast as you want. Okay, so look at the second half of the bar. We've done 2 of the three hard things in that bar. The last thing is to play 4, 3, 2, 1, right? You play that 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it again. Do it separate goes first. 4, 3, 2. What position are you in?
third.
Do you know where third is?
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? Right. See, you knew more than you thought you did. Good, good. This is true a lot of times. We get confused and flustered and, I don't know what's going on. You usually know what's going on. There's usually a starting point somewhere, And when I always talk with people about what they know, I sometimes start high, and then sometimes I go really low. I do this in conversations with my wife. She hates it. She says, I know more than you think. Well, I want to find out what you do know. So I'm going to shoot high and then low, and then I'll know something in the middle, okay? Good. Try it again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Set your hand in third position. Good. Nicely done. Do it again. Good. Should we play this loud or soft, do you think?
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Okay. I like your response. Loud. Whether or not it's loud or soft in the music, when we play kind of loud, it gives us confidence. If we practice stuff during our practicing, like this, it's not gonna stick for us, right? But if we, it's gonna stick better. Okay, try it. Good, again. Keep your 3 and 2 close, try again. Good. Now what's interesting about this measure as I'm looking at is that if the 3 and the 2 are far away here, now they're close. Ha-ha, tricky, okay? So do you think you're ready for it? Let's try to get to +5 with that. I think it starts with a 2. Good for you. Good, man. What do you think?
Oh, I messed up on the 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the placement of fingers wasn't very good, and your shift was a little bit tentative. Okay, so I agree with you. That would be a -1. Okay, that was so close, and I want to be encouraging. So let's say that was good enough. What happened when you shifted to third position, your 1, 2 wasn't quite big enough, right? But other than that, it was pretty good. So we'll call that +1, so that makes you at 0, okay? Good. Let's call that +1. Can you put it a little stronger, please? That one was sketchy enough. I'm going to call that a minus. So we're at 0 again. Good. You keep making the same mistake every time. First of all, do you know what the mistake is?
I'm going too high on the shift.
No, actually, I think when you go to the shift, no, you're not making a whole step there because you had been a half step.
Oh.
Okay. So is it okay to make the same mistake every time?
No.
Depends on how you look at it. It's good if you make the same mistake every time because that means it's fixable. If you make a different mistake every time, you know, God knows what you're going to fix it with, right? So if you have a consistent mistake, great. Once you notice the consistent mistake, you shouldn't make the mistake anymore. You should make the opposite mistake, right? Okay, try it again. So you're going to open up the 1, 2 on the shift. So that time your 2 was sharp. Is that an okay mistake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the perfect mistake to make, okay? Now fix that mistake. See, by isolating the mistake in our mind, we got it exactly right, okay? Good. So I don't want to take more time on this because we want to do more, but how is this exactly like you were practicing, or how is it different?
I didn't really focus on that one part much.
What, the 4, 3, 2, 1?
Like,
Or the
yeah,
shift?
the measure really.
Okay, so that was a hard measure, but you kind of swept it under the rug.
A little bit.
Okay,
Like,
so that's you know, I have this theory that we have pain in our life, like there's the amount of pain we're gonna get,
mhm.
and so I like exercising because I get all the pain over while I'm exercising, and then like I hope that I'm gonna live longer, rather than like having pain from the time I'm 65 to 80. I'll just be in constant pain. I just do like 30 minutes a day, and that's good, you know. So you're gonna catch pain about that measure one way or another. Like you're never gonna get office peace, or your teacher's gonna get mad, or you can give yourself a little bit of pain every day. Okay. So focusing on finding the hardest stuff and going for it. Okay. That's a really good lesson for life. You know. Okay. And then so if you weren't concentrating on it, we don't know how you were working on it. But dividing it into the whole measure is hard, okay, but actually there's just 3 hard things, right? Identifying what the hard thing are. So that's part of the job between you and the teacher. Teachers know basically what's hard, but you're a unique person, so some things might be surprisingly hard for you. Some things might be easy for you. So you trying to identify what's hard, and then going to the teacher and say, I had trouble with this. I want to tell you something super interesting. Okay, so I had lessons. Piano lessons from age 5, viola lessons from age 9 or 10. Lots of lessons through age 23, basically. And I thought a good lesson was a lesson where my teacher didn't know the things I couldn't do. Honestly, I thought that was a good lesson until I was like 57 again, 58. Good lesson is with teacher doesn't, where you can hide stuff from the teacher. That's a terrible lesson. Okay, so if you have stuff with any teacher, go in, like with Rebecca, and before she finds out what you can't do, say, hey, you know, this week I really had a hard time with this measure. And she'll say, wow, that's so cool, thank you, Manny. Let's figure out why you had a hard time with it, you know? Okay, so then that puts you in the power seat, right? Instead of like, oh, I hope she doesn't find out, okay? So that's a hard measure. Great, and it's like the hardest measure in the piece by a lot. Okay?
Mhm.
So, two things I would like to see you do better on this piece is I'd like to see you do the rhythm a little bit better.
Mhm.
You show promise of being a very, very good driver. Because a good driver, when he gets to an unfamiliar place on the road, is going to slow down. A lot of curves and stuff like that, slow down so he doesn't crash the car. So when you get to a hard thing like that, you kind of slow down. And when there's conversely, when there's something really easy, you tend to speed up. Okay? But this should go at a consistent tempo all the way through, right? So viola playing shouldn't be necessarily like that. Have you ever... Has anybody else talked to you about building up your rhythm and getting better at your rhythm?
Oh yeah.
So what kinds of things do you use for your rhythm?
Well, Beck said if you know all the notes, then the rhythm will just be no. No, wait, never mind. She said that about speed actually. Okay, never mind.
So do you have a metronome?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use it?
For my scales.
Okay, good. You could also use it for piece, right?
Yes.
So metronomes reminds me of a joke about a turn signal. There was a very, very bad auto mechanic. Somebody asked him if the turn signal was working. He said, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So your metronome can seem to start like speeding up or slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend always, I'm going to write a word here. Subdivision. Do you know that word?
Yes. It's like. I mean, I think I know what it is.
It's dividing something into something smaller. Sub means small, right? Or under, right? So in this case, I would count this piece not in quarter notes. It looks like it should be counted in quarter notes, but I count it in eighth notes. And I would suggest that you practice it. Rest. Rest, rest. And we can do that there. Okay, can we try that? So this is great because rhythm can be a brain thing, but a lot of time it's a body thing. When people don't have the rhythm right, they say, I don't feel the rhythm, right? Have you ever heard somebody say something like that? Yeah, I don't feel it. So let's try it. As a matter of fact, one of my colleagues, metronomes click at you, they make noises at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my colleagues, who was a really, really great bass teacher, wanted to have a metronome that did this. It would have this hand that would hit you in the back, call it the helping hand, because it's a rhythm is a physical thing, okay?
Mhm.
So let's try just playing a bunch of open strings. Good. And let's put the down bow on your first one. The first one is down bow, because down bow is kind of the beginning of the measure. It's a really standard way of bowing, right? So ready? Go. Good. So let's try playing this piece with the bow playing all the eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, got it? See what we're doing? 1 and 2 and 3 and. Start down bow. Yeah. Forget the fact that it's up bow, right? Because. Okay, so here's another interesting thing I think we can talk about. The way I see practicing,
Mm-hmm.
what's on the page
Yes.
is what you play. The way you practice it is often you don't play what's on the page.
Mm-hmm.
You break it down, you do some different stuff, you might play the notes out of order. You know, there's all these different things you could do. The more inventive you are to say, what's the problem on the page and how can I solve it, the faster you're going to be able to digest music. And that's, Rebecca told me that she was hoping you would digest music a little faster than you are.
Okay.
Okay, which is you're smiling like you know that too. And so I'm giving you some tools here that will help you digest the music faster. Because we have an hour. You have, how long do you have with it? Half hour, 45 minutes?
An hour.
Oh, you have an hour. Also good, great. Okay, I didn't know if it was shorter or something. Okay, let's try again. So yes, it says up bow, but we're not going to pay any attention to the bowing. This is just like the notes and rhythm. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Down low. So let's start on that one on up bow. Right. It's in third position. Find third position. Good. Play the D. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, second step is I'll play the eighth notes with the bow, and you play the music that's there, okay? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Does this help you a little bit to see where the patterns are? So this is a little speculative. Do you know the word speculative? It's guessing. Okay, you're guessing a little on that one. You're also guessing a little bit in this measure because there's a rest, and rest doesn't mean rest because you don't have anything to do. Rest means be quiet but think. Okay, good. Great. Do you have your metronome with you by any chance?
There's one on the phone.
Okay, yeah. Do you use the one on the phone a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Phones are the best way to have metronomes. I mean, the really best metronome you can get for like $5 on the phone because it's a free app, but you buy the upgrades, you know. Does your metronome have something where it dings or flat? Okay, so there's
Oh, wait, like, what do you mean? Like,
so good metronome app on the computer, on the metronome at the phone has subdivisions like you can go tick, go, tick, go.
oh, like the physical, like, stick going back and forth.
Sometimes it has a stick going back and forth, but
Um,
the sounds can go like tick, go, tick, go.
Yeah.
Having, you know, or tick, do, do, tick, do,
Yeah,
or
I
tick, do, beep, pop, 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 beep. Those subdivisions, right?
Mhm.
And you can pick them out from
Yeah.
some menu. Okay. Also, another good useful tool for you is something that you can make ding or flash or something every 2 or 3 beats.
I
So
think
do,
that also
da,
does that.
beep, ball, beep, ball, beep, ball, 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 beep, ball, ball, right? Something like that would be very useful for you because if you find out that you're not with it,
Mhm.
then you say, oh, something happened.
Yeah.
You won't know until you actually unpack it and see what happened. Third question, as long as we're talking about technology, have you ever recorded your practicing?
Like myself practice?
Yeah.
No.
Do you have your own phone or do you use your parents?
I have my own.
Okay, so you have the ability to do this.
Mhm.
When I was young, we used to have, in order to record ourselves, we had to buy something. We had to spend about the equivalent of $500 or $600 to buy something new because we didn't have computers on, you know, like that. We had to buy a recording device and a microphone, and that's, so the first time I started to record myself, I was 21 years old because that's the first time I could afford that much money to do that, okay? So you can do it. Why is it good to record yourself when you practice?
Guess like rewind it and just like so you could hear what you did, but also look at the music.
Yeah, you can do both of those, exactly. Because it's easier to see somebody else's mistakes than it is to see our own.
Mhm.
This is true in life, right? Oh, that person did that. You do that too. Yeah, but they did it, right? So when you're watching on the thing,
Mhm.
it really is like watching somebody else. That somebody else happens to be you, okay? So the mistake, this is all really, really good important stuff, so I'm glad it's recorded. You can take notes about this later. Back in the day, when people recorded themselves, people would record themselves, listen to it like 5 hours later,
Mhm.
and be really depressed. I thought I was good, but there's all these mistakes. Oh, that's terrible.
Mhm.
No, that's not helpful. I don't even want you to be depressed about it. You know, what we want is we want you to fix it, the stuff. So, record it, listen to it during your practice time,
Mhm.
and then play it again. Record it again. Listen to it again. See if you fix the things that were wrong. See if new things happened.
Yes.
Okay? And keep recording until it's right when you see it. That helps you hear yourself, which is a skill that many people don't get until they're like 16, 17, 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be a little bit ahead of them. Okay? So now, when you're doing that recording stuff, you're going to be playing the viola less than half the time.
Yes.
Makes sense, right? Because you're going to be watching it and making notes and stuff like that. How much time do you practice?
Lately, like 30 minutes a day.
It's been a little more than that.
Maybe
Okay,
sometimes
so
40.
let's say 30 minutes a day. So that means when you're recording, if you did it for your whole practice session, which maybe you shouldn't do, but if you did it for your whole practice session, you'd only be playing the viola for 12 minutes a day.
Yes.
Is that okay?
No.
It is okay.
Oh.
Because you're thinking, you're concentrating the whole time, right? Maybe you're concentrating even a little bit better. I'm not, I mean, you're playing less, but you're getting more done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually the word playing, you're not really playing the viola, you're working the viola when you're practicing, right? Good. So these are things that I think you can use to kind of, so you're not surprised when you go to your lesson and you find out something's wrong, or listen to the places. So some good questions are, 1, what's hard? Okay? Confront it. 2, what's hard about it? 3, simplify. 4, many times. 5, celebrate. Okay? Now, do you think that process will have to be done tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes, that same thing. I'm going to tell you, you might not know why this is funny, but I have to tell you the funniest thing that I ever hear when people come and play for me, I say, how do you practice this? And they say, well, I play through it and I see what's hard and then I practice those spots. You know what's funny?
No.
The stuff that's hard is hard every day.
Okay.
Are you in gym class at school?
Mm-hmm.
Is there some stuff that's hard for you in gym class, like certain things that, like, if you're in gymnastics unit, or certain things you can't do, or
Not really.
you can do everything?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's think of a situation here.
Laundry.
If you had to run a mile in 6 minutes, I bet because of your age, I bet you couldn't do it. I don't know how fast somebody. You're 12?
14.
14. Sorry. You might be able to do it. I don't know how old people are. I usually guess older. But let's say you could run a mile in 7 minutes. So the goal was to run 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it would be hard to run a mile in 6 minutes tomorrow?
Yes.
And the next day?
Yes.
2 weeks from now? Maybe you could do it, right? But the hard thing is the hard thing every day. Okay? So anyway, that's good stuff. It just helps you. I mean, I think you're doing a pretty good job. I think it's better for you to know your weaknesses before you come into the lesson, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great thing. Okay, that's good. Show me what you're doing on. So to me, the weaknesses were rhythm and some of the shifting stuff, right? Yeah, subdivision. That's a good thing. The other thing, I think you can keep the bow moving, even though this is piano. I don't think we want to sound quite. Well, we want it to sound sad, but maybe not sad for that reason. Okay, can you try this using kind of a lot of bow? I'll play along with you. 1, 2, 3. Down bow again. Up bow. So this one isn't open, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then she wants you to shift to third position, which is a 2, and then shift here on the second position. You weren't really following that instruction. Seems weird, but there's a purpose behind it, okay? 1, 2, 3. This will be up bow because of the slur, right? And you can mark stuff in your own music, right? It's great. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Good. Let's go ahead and use a lot of bow here. One, two, three. Good. So I know generally we say piano means not much bow, but light with a lot of bows is kind of a nice kind of piano. I'm sorry, Rebecca, if that's a bad thing to say. I want you to feel somewhat supported and confident in this piece. Okay, great. So that's good. Can you read my bad handwriting?
Result process.
Okay, with the pencil, I want you to circle the one of those that's the most important.
Out of like this process right here?
No, out of those two words, result or process.
Oh. Mm,
You know why I'm having you circle it?
resolve.
Okay. You know why I'm having you circle it? Because then you have to commit. You totally have to commit. You can't say, well, I think it's this, I think it's that. Maybe, I don't know. I think that ability to consider all points of view is an important thing, but I think that there comes a time you have to act. Like these things that we're playing, so I think you have to act. Okay, so you think the result is the most important. Actually, I think the process is the most important. To me, the process, if you do the right process, the right amount of times, you're going to get the right result every time.
Yes.
Okay? So let's say you got an A on the math test, but you cheated. You see how that's maybe not the right way to get the results? Because that's not ultimately going to help you. Okay, so I'm just pointing it out because I didn't really talk that much about the piece. Not really. I talked about how to work on it, right? So I think if you can get better at the process, then the results will come automatically. Okay, so this one you worked on a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And you played it very slowly, okay? Good, let's hear this. Do you like this one better than Nina?
I don't really think I have one over the other.
Okay, good. I would like this one better than Nina if I were your age.
Should I play this one?
Because this is more fun.
How I've been practicing, or just
What do you mean how you've been practicing?
because I've been practicing, I could just slowly.
Slowly, yeah.
Okay.
That would be great. Good. I like that a lot. Look out the window, and without looking back at the music, tell me what dynamic this piece is.
Forte.
It is forte. What dynamic was Nina?
Piano.
So we'll probably play more bow on this one.
Okay.
Could you play a little bit more bow? I thought that was really well done. There were a lot of good things that you did there, but it didn't seem like it was forte to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you're playing forte, you're going to be closer to the frog or the tip.
Oh, frog.
Okay, good. So put that into your considerations. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. So that the measure before that measure, ya da 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 ya da, is really hard. What's hard about that measure?
Oh yeah. You say the G sharp.
Mm-hmm. Followed by the F natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
So G sharp and A have to be close, and then the F has to be low. So 2 and 3. Where are we? Here, right? So we can make a little exercise out of that to make it harder. So these notes are the same notes but with a high F sharp, right? Can you play that?
Oh,
Like I said, sometimes we'll play playing notes in the backwards note order. Good, now let's try with low 2. That's never anywhere in the music,
yeah.
but it's exactly what the problem is. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, well done. Can you do that? Just the high 2 and then low 2? Whoops. That was so we want. Right? Low 2, high 3. Good. Do it again. Slur 4 if you can. Low 2. Good. Let's try it the other way. You see what I'm saying? I'll play it 1, 2, 1, 3. Now try this. Listen. Yeah, exactly. 1, 2 high. Now 2 low. Now how about 1 high, 1 low? Good. Play from here. Oh, yeah, except this one is high 2, right? I was so ready to congratulate you because you did that low 2 after the 3 beautifully, right? But then you forgot to bring it back up. Comments about that?
No.
The little exercise made it easier when your hand got to it, didn't it?
Yes.
Because you brought on the pain. I want to do this hardest thing really well. And then in the piece, it's not so hard. Do it again. 1, 2, 3. High. Good. Right, so you can invent some kind of language for yourself that tells you when something is hard. You know, we'll put a box around or a warning sign, right? 1, 2, 3.
Wait.
Sorry, right there. 1, 2, 3. That is really hard. I would suggest that you're shifting on the first finger here. So because if you just randomly go to your fourth finger, it's weird, right? Because you have to ground your hands. Does that make any sense? So it's a lot of steps, but can you play E, D, now play E on the D string, play B on the A string, now shift to C, then play, do you see what I'm saying? So when you're shifting there, you're shifting your whole hand organization from the foundation of it, which is your first finger.
Yeah.
Now you've heard that kind of stuff before, like when you
So
shift,
then when I shift though, like when I'm actually playing,
you should
I don't
feel
want
the
to
one.
actually like.
You
But
should feel the one. So, watch my hand now. I totally do that. I feel the one, and then I'm all set for here. Okay? Great, good. This piece, it's very good to ask yourself, what's hard about this piece? And your teacher, Rebecca, may tell you what's hard about the piece. What's hard about the piece for most people might not be what's hard for you. What I think is cool about this piece is how it's got big jumps. Big jump, big jump, big jump, jump, jump. So a really good performance of this is going to get you preparing very quickly or soon on the jump. Watch my bow also. Do you see I'm ready very, very early? Okay, so play it again, slowly if you will, but try and prepare, if this doesn't sound weird, try and prepare quickly in that slow performance, okay? Yeah, you were late for that performance. Da da da, ha. So play E, F, G, then get ready on the C. Right. Nice. Prepare. Yeah. So play da 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 dum and stop. Stop. Put your bow on the A string. Go ahead. Good. Do you see what I'm talking about? About being prepared? Always start from a stop. Okay? That's what sprinters do. People who run the fastest stop and then they start and explode from there. Okay? I think that's going really well. Can you show me the etude?
Like,
How long do you have this one? 2 lessons? 7
a
lessons?
week.
A week. Okay. So, do you ever play this with separate bows?
Oh yeah.
It's not a bad idea if it's, somebody's giving you problems. What dynamic should this be?
We have like lots of dynamics, like right here, forte, right here, fortissimo, right here, mezzo forte.
Okay. So what is it at the beginning?
Forte.
Why would you say that?
Because, I don't know.
Etude and F, right? Forte. I don't know. Remember I told you earlier that if you're going to do something, probably better to do it confidently. So if you're trying to learn these things, I think that playing it forte is, as a basis is a good start, and then you can add the dynamics, right? Okay, good. So let's hear it. Good. So what's the hardest thing about the hand patterns in F major on the bottom 2 strings? The low 2 on the G string. Okay. So can you fix that? B is really, really creeping up every time. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
So it started in bar 5. Good. How about on the A string? Is it also still, is that a B flat or B natural?
Natural.
It's a natural there. Okay, I was just going. Okay, I'll look at the music so I don't falsely accuse you. Okay, start here from 5. 1, 2, ready, go. Whoop. But that one is low, right? So you can put in little half-step things if you need to remind yourselves, right? Try again from 5. Ready, go. It's confusing there. It confused me too. I wasn't looking ahead enough. Okay, why is this a good thing to give you the same time you're playing the Bach?
Wait, huh?
Why is Rebecca really smart to give you this the same time she's giving you the Bach?
For
It uses a low 2, the F natural, and it has a G sharp.
oh yeah.
Aha, right? So that's just like in the Bach, right?
Mm.
It's cool. Okay, do you know why? This is exactly right. This is very musical. Play that soft, a little bit louder, a little bit louder, a little bit louder. Do you know why that's a good idea?
There's a lot of like going up, and then this is high, and then it goes up and it's even more high.
Okay, can you play from here? This is gonna freak you out, but maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna play something other than what you're playing, okay? 1, 2, play from there. 2, ready, go. At the same tempo as I am? 2, ready, go. Do you notice we're going kind of the same directions?
Mm.
I was just playing 2 bars ahead of you. Do you see that this is not only does it go up, but it's exactly the same contour?
Mm.
That's called a sequence. Do you ever heard of that?
Yes.
And so since it's a rising sequence, that's why it gets louder. Okay? Let's start again in 9, 2, ready, go. Yeah, you remember the B flat. That's interesting there. So the sequence was good, and then we have an echo here, maybe, right? Do you see how it plays it twice? So I would play forte here, and I would play piano there. We go back to mezzo forte here. Does that make sense?
Mm.
And when it goes like the beginning, can you find the place where it goes like the beginning again?
I'll repeat itself right here once.
But exactly like the beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning exactly comes back. All the way down here.
Right here?
Right down here. Do you like look at the beginning? So I would play that part really loud. I'm just gonna put the word recap there. It's short for a longer word called recapitulation. Means basically saying it again. So it's nice to know when that happens. So, and that's a place that we should reinforce. Like here we are with familiar territory again. Okay. Good. Good. So, pop quiz here at the end of the lesson. What's more important, result or process?
Process.
Okay. And can you tell me something you learned about one or two or maybe even three things you learned about practicing?
Want to record yourself
Okay.
so you look at it.
And that shouldn't be every day, okay? Because then you get involved with the phone and the phone can be distracting and stuff like that. Maybe 1 or 2 days a week, okay? But those days I wouldn't even do it for your whole time. I would do it for like 20 minutes, you know? Okay, so recording yourself is good. We talked about some stuff before then.
If you're going to practice and you're going to go through it and you're going to figure out the hard things and just practice the hard things, those things are still going to be hard the next day and the next day. And the next day.
Good. Yeah, so hit them like straight on, okay? And then figure out what's the hardest thing about them. Try and isolate that thing about the steps that we talked about, and then just repeat it a bunch of times. Make sure that you're getting it right. You're not just practicing it wrong, okay? And then you'll find that like over time, you'll be better. You know, like if I go on a diet and exercise, I know that over 2 weeks I'll probably lose a pound. I won't know that right away, but I know if I keep doing the right stuff, I'll do the right thing, right? The right work always yields, eventually, close to the right results. I mean, results are sometimes dependent on other factors, right? But when it's just you, you're the only factor. Okay, good. It's nice to see you again. And this is how I think it can work. This lesson is not exactly like Rebecca's, was it?
No.
Similar, probably in some ways, in some of the things we talked about. But I think that's the advantage of having me every once in a while, is I can tell you, hey, here's some big scale things. But I didn't hassle you about your bow hand, which she wants you to curve your pinky more, right? Yeah, I didn't hassle you about that. It was wrong most of the time, okay? But I didn't hassle you about that because I know she's working with you on that, okay? And you need to do all that stuff, okay? But we can talk about bigger things. Okay, great. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you. And have a great Thanksgiving. Are you doing anything fun?
Are we?
No, we're staying home.
That's nice.
We are staying home. We've
By live stream.
Yeah.
How do you turn
I'm
this
gonna
off?
unplug this here since I'm right here.
Oh, right here. Okay.
So, yeah. Well, I was going to tell you, if you're having a big